This video because you want to know the top 3 mistakes I see whenever a real estate agent starts a Facebook group to generate leads in their business. Well, stay tuned because I'm going to explain the top 3 mistakes. Hi, my name is Griffin. I'm a top-selling real estate agent in the Loudoun County, Northern Virginia area, and I coach real estate agents how to start a Facebook group, grow it, and turn it into the main lead generation source for their business, like I have. I have consistently done over $22 million a year in sales, all from my Facebook group, and I love sharing my tips and tricks to you as a real estate agent on how to do this and to get consistency with leads in your business. The first mistake that I often see is in the name. So whenever you're starting a Facebook group to generate leads, you're going to be creating a community group. So the name needs to be similar to the community. So you're going to include the city, town, county, or neighborhood, but I'm going to put a little asterisk there because if it's going to be the neighborhood, you need to have a few thousand homes. So you need to be over, I would say, 3 to 10,000 plus homes in your neighborhood. If you have a few hundred, like I've seen some agents do, I don't think it's going to be worth your time and you're not going to get as much value from that group. You want to talk large scale. So for instance, I use my county name. So my group is Loudoun Moms. If I was going to redo it, I could do Loudoun Community Group, living in Loudoun County, what's going on in Loudoun County, Loudoun Parents Group. You could do what you need to know about living in Loudoun County. As you see, I'm using Loudoun in the name for one of 2 reasons. First is it's going to make it easy for people who are local to find my group, but you're going to find all the relocation people are going to want to join your group when they're relocating to the area because the first thing they're going to look for is groups in your area based on the area name. Keep in mind that when you're picking out the name for your group, you want to do a little bit of research. So you're going to want to see if anybody else is using your name. If they are, you don't really want to use that name for your group. I was helping another real estate agent who was down in Florida. We were looking at the group name that she wanted to use, and there was 10 other groups with the same name. And there was a few hundred, a few thousand people in each of these groups. They weren't very large. And so I said, don't use that name. Let's come up with something else that's a little more unique. But also keep in mind that if you're going to use something that's a little bit different, don't pick something that nobody knows. So I was talking to another real estate agent and someone had already taken their county name and that's what they wanted to use for their group. So they were going to do southwest of their county, but no one knows it by that name. So it wasn't really going to be effective because relocation people aren't going to be looking for that. The locals aren't going to be looking for that either. So it wasn't going to be really effective. So make sure your name has your location in it and make sure that no one else has that group because you don't want to have a ton of groups with the same name. And if you need another group name and you didn't like any of the ones that I suggested, go to like a ChatGPT or another AI service and put it in and see what they come up with. Sometimes they come up with some really cool names that are just slightly outside the box but still fit the formula of having the location in the name. So to piggyback on the name is the description. So if you gotta remember, Facebook is like a big search engine. It's like Google. So anytime locals or relocation clients are looking for groups to join in Facebook, they're searching by the location. So one other point that you want to have is not only the location in your name, but in your description. So your description has to be right. You have to think about it as another way for people to really gravitate towards your group. So the description is one of the first things that they're going to see. Is there anything that's pulling them in? Is there anything that makes them want to join this group? Does it seem fun? Does it seem like the right fit for them? Do the principles of the group sound like something that they would enjoy? So you really need to think about your description. You want to have a little bit about what the group's about, who started the group, why you started the group, and the location needs to be in there because again, Facebook is a search engine, so you want to have that. I have a county in mind and I put Loudoun Moms serving moms in and I list out all the cities, Ashburn, Leesburg, Aldi, all those places in there. So that way I'm hitting the location in multiple points. Then you want to have your information. Now, depending on your state, you may have to have disclosures. I have to have disclosures in mine. And we have to be 1 click away. So I have the 1 click, but then I also just have the disclosures in there just to make my life easy. And then also have a call to action. The best call to action that I have found that has done a lot of business for me is having a relocation guide. So if you're relocating to XYZ area, click the link below to get access to our relocation guide with everything you need to know about living in da 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 da. And you know what happens? People click on that link, it takes them to a landing page. they put in their information, they get my relocation guide, and then they get put on my relocation drip cycle. So they're getting dripped all this information, and I would say 90% of the time they will just call me and say, hey Laura, we're thinking about moving here. Can we set up a time to kind of go over what we're looking for? Absolutely. And then the rest of the time, people get on the drip and then they'll eventually call me because they may be a little bit early in their search. So after they join the group and they kind of get in there a little bit longer, then they tend to call me. So having a relocation guide is money. And if you don't have one, talk to your brokerage and see if they have one. I bought one off of Etsy. I just kind of configured it to my needs and revamped it. You could definitely do that. You could use a ChatGPT or a Canva, their AI service, to create one for you. But definitely in your description, have something that attracts that person to your group, have the location information, a call to action, and your information in there, and any disclosures that are required in your state. And that brings me to our third mistake. So often when I'm auditing Facebook groups, I look at the content and they say, my group isn't performing, people aren't joining, I'm not getting a lot of engagement. And I go, okay, let's look at the content, because obviously there is something that is missing from this puzzle. And so often what I see is sales posts. So it's, look at this house I just listed. Are you thinking about buying a house? Are you thinking about renting a house? Look at this house I listed. Look, I'm going to an open house this weekend. Nobody wants to be sold to. Remember, the purpose of the group is that it's a community group. Do people want to be sold to all the time? No. And do you like to be sold to all the time? No. You don't want to walk onto a car lot and have the salesman just throwing stuff at you. It's kind of the same way, right? You just kind of want to feel you out and kind of see what's going on in the group and participate. They don't want to be sold to. But there's ways that you can be salesy without being salesy and let them know that you're a real estate agent. And you just have to weave that in. So often with your content plan, it is like the food pyramid. When I was a kid, we learned the food pyramid, right? At the bottom is, was grains and different vegetables and meat and dairy, and the sugar and the sweets were at the top, right? You need to think about that as your content plan. You're going to be heavy on community. So what are the best parks in your area? What are the best pizza parlors? What are the best ice cream places? What's a new pizza parlor that might be opening? And take your kids there and share it. What are some community events coming up? Every Friday I do a community event post with what's going on the weekend, because so many times that's the biggest question that I get in my group. Or what's a new maybe doctor's office that opened up, or maybe you interview a different business and promote that in your group so you have a little bit of video content. But remember, you're going to lead with community, and that is going to be your main thing. And the sales real estate posts are going to be like the top of your pyramid, where it's like the sugar and the sweets. You're going to just sprinkle it in a little bit. You also want to have fun posts that boost engagement and feed the Facebook algorithm. Yes, you're going to need to feed the Facebook algorithm. So do posts that are real quick, people love to engage with. It's really just like a mindless thing. Drop a gift and how your morning went, because everybody loves to drop their favorite gift, because I will say 9 times out of 10, everyone's morning is a train wreck, just like yours is. Or what are you doing for the holidays? Is Thanksgiving or Christmas coming up, 4th of July, Easter, Halloween? Where's your favorite trick-or-treating place? Or what did your kids dress up for Halloween as far as their costumes? So put little posts that are just really quick and people can comment. Another post that I like to do that hits the sales, but it's still a real quick one and people don't really know what you're doing, is what's the one thing that you could change about your home today? Post in the comments below. People will always post things, and it's a great way to data mine your group to find people who are thinking about buying or selling and have a conversation started in their head. So do those kinds of posts. There's tons of different posts you can post, but you need to feed the Facebook algorithm, and you need to do it weekly, because as you're feeding that algorithm, it's pushing your group to more people to join, number one. And number two, it's pushing your group in front of the people that have already joined your group. So they consistently are seeing the content and going, oh yeah, I joined this group. So that way, when they are thinking about buying or selling, they think of you, because maybe they're seeing your other posts where you're being salesy but not being salesy. So you got to feed the algorithm. Gift posts are great. Don't do branded like stagnant posts. Those don't really do well. Sometimes a good post that I like to do is you can do how you've got the heart, the thumbs up, the happy face, the face, all those things at the bottom. Drop a comment below, or hit the like button to match whatever it is. So I just did one for the holidays. Do you put your tree up? It was December 1st or December 1st, right the day before Christmas. Thanksgiving. I think the other one was like in October or something. And so, the heart matched up to the different timeline. And that was a gold mine. We had over 1,200 people comment on that post with just hitting the different like buttons. And it fed the algorithm, and Facebook really likes it. So you need to do that. For sales posts, for real estate, you need to weave it in, and you need to weave it in and be just kind of think outside the box. So, if it's daylight savings times, don't forget to change your smoke detector batteries. And don't forget that if your smoke detector is over 7 to 10 years old, it's time to replace it. As a real estate agent, I see this skipped so often on home inspections, and it's definitely something that you want to do, especially going into the winter season where we see a lot more house fires. You don't want your house to be one of those. So make sure that you check your smoke detector batteries, and or make sure that your smoke detector is still valid and not expired. Little posts like that where you're weaving in that you're a real estate agent but not screaming, "I have a house for sale," is key. And it's going to build the community and build your know, like, and trust factor within your community. So let's break down the 3 mistakes. The name, location's not in there. Description, you're not pulling people in on why they want to join your group, and your location is missing. Next is content. It's too salesy. You don't have a plan. You don't have consistency where you're providing community value, you're feeding the algorithm, and you're sprinkling in a little bit of sales here and there, or that you're a real estate agent here and there within the group. So if you want any more information about how to start a Facebook group, grow a Facebook group, or if it's the right thing for your real estate business to generate leads, to bring consistency to your business, comment below with webinar, and I will send you a link to my free webinar, everything you know about Facebook groups, or there's a link below in the description.